Jazakallah. Welcome back, and apologies slightly later than scheduled. We now commence our main program with our first main session led by our Honorable Imam Qais, and this session will give you an overview of the whole retreat, the Day of Judgment retreat. So we want to highlight to you what the objectives are, what you should aim to achieve by the end of the weekend, and give you the flavor and the taste of what is coming over the next 2 to 3 days. So without further ado, time is critical. I hand over to Imam Qais, who will lead this session up until approximately 7:30, so we can then break for and prepare for Isha Salah. So over to Imam Qais. Jazakallah.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya wal Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Amma ba'du, fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. كلا إذا دكت الأرض دكا دكا وجاء ربك والملك صفا صفا وجيء يومئذ بجهنم يومئذ يتذكر الإنسان وأن له الذكرى يقول يا ليتني قدمت لحياتي فيومئذ لا يعذب عذابه أحد ولا يوثق وثاقه أحد يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. صدق الله العظيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد, MashaAllah, I'd like to first and foremost welcome you all to our Judgment Day Judgment Retreat, in which hopefully we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that by the end of it our lives, our mindset become aligned and become rectified, become enlightened, towards which you heard earlier on what our beloved Master Shaykh Muhammad mentioned in the Shama'il, that the prophetic mindset regarding the Day of Judgment, what we should have, how should our mindset be, what should be our actions be like when we conduct ourselves on the face of this earth, and the significance and the importance of Day of Judgment. One thing that I always mention to yourself, and I remind myself, is topics such as this, about death, about Akhirah, Day of Judgment. We sometimes, most of the time, we don't usually want to talk about it, or we don't want to remember it. The reason being is because either we know what we're doing is actually wrong, and we already know the consequences of it, or other element is we completely don't know anything about it. That is the reason why we don't think about it or talk about it. So it's either one or the other. Before we start and before we commence and talk about what the objective of this retreat is, let me first of all ask one of you or a few of you in the audience, what do you wish to actually achieve from this retreat? So I'll start with the brother over there on the corner over here, and also Zoom if you wish to participate, and also sisters who are listening, brothers who are listening, what do you wish to actually attain from this retreat? Yes. Are you not sitting? Okay. But Ibrahim, mashallah, but Ibrahim's come all the way from Denmark, so you've made a special journey from all the way from Denmark to here. MashaAllah, the Viking land. So what do you actually wish to achieve from this retreat?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Well, first of all, to be in the blessed company of the Mashayikh and sit with them and learn with them. And whatever they teach us is, of course, beneficial for us. But more specifically regarding the retreat, I think it is to obtain a higher level of yaqeen regarding the Day of Judgment, and derive some lessons, practical lessons that I can go back with, have a higher level of understanding and iman as well, and to come back with a transformed life, inshallah.
MashaAllah. But at Tabraz, if you can just mention, what do you wish to achieve?
Assalamu alaikum, Imam Qais. Apart from seeing your blessed self, I've been procrastinating on my journey, for a number of months, years. So I'm pleading that this retreat really gives me that awakening, that I'll become steadfast on my 5 amals and continue with my journey and focus on spreading the message.
MashaAllah. Somebody from this side, Brother Bilal, what would you like to achieve? Also Zoom, you can also, sisters who are listening, you can also put in the Q&A function as well, what you like to do. A chat function you can mention as well, and there we'll read some out. Come on, Brother Bilal.
I'd like to gain some spiritual energy and become more practicing.
Inshallah. Keep this in mind. Brother, are you sitting in the retreat, yes? What's your good name? Tawsi, Brother Tawsi. Where are you from, and what would you like to actually achieve?
Assalamu alaikum. Well, I'm from Dewsbury. It's my first retreat, and inshallah, I want to gain more knowledge behind our religion, and inshallah become a better Muslim, better practicing Muslim from this.
MashaAllah.
Make a change from today onwards.
MashaAllah. We can mention this brother here. What's your good name, brother? Hamza. Okay, Brother Hamza. Mention where you're from, Hamza, and also what would you like to achieve?
Assalamu alaikum, brother. I'm from Slough. Just come to the retreat to be in blessed company, and inshallah change.
Where are you from, Brother Hamza?
Slough.
Slough, mashallah. Down, so we've got quite a southerners here, mashallah. Okay, brother over there in the Amama there, mashallah. So what's your good name?
My English is not good. Urdu. मेरा नाम साजिद नज़ीर है. मैं स्पेन बार्सिलोना से हूँ. और इस खलबत का मकसद जो कि क़यामत के दिन के बारे में है, डे ऑफ जजमेंट, यकीनन ये वो दिन है जो कि कई ज़िंदगियाँ इंसान की गुज़र जाएँ, तो जितना ये लंबा दिन है और उस दिन की तैयारी और इतना सख्त दिन, शदीद दिन और इसकी सख्तियाँ, तलखियाँ और इसके बारे में इंसानी ज़िंदगी जो कि एक एवरेज लाइफ एक आदमी की 60 से 70 साल है, उसमें अगर चंद दिन की तकलीफ़ आ जाए तो इंसान बर्दाश्त नहीं करता. और बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हैं जो कि ख़ुदकशी की तरफ चले जाते हैं. लेकिन वो दिन ऐसा होगा कि जब जो इंसान ना ख़ुदकशी कर सकेगा, कुछ भी नहीं कर सकेगा, और ना उस वक़्त उसका माल ना कुछ भी नहीं काम आएंगे. तो उस दिन की तैयारी के लिए, यानी उसके दिन की जो हमने तैयारी करनी है, अपने रब से मुलाकात करनी है, सरकार सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम से मुलाकात है, तो उस दिन की तैयारी आज हमने शुरू करनी है, ताकि जब वो दिन आए तो हम उस दिन पछतावा ना लेकर जाएं. और आज से और इसी सिलसिले में मैं समझता हूँ कि ये रिट्रीट हम जो है वो उस दिन की तैयारी के ही सिलसिले की एक कड़ी है.
लेकिन आप क्या कोशिश करेंगे, जो आप क्या चीज़ हासिल करेंगे? आप
कोशिश हासिल वही ज़िंदगी,
वो तो मालूमात है.
हाँ, हाँ.
लेकिन खुसूसी आपका अंदर भी, मैं इधर भी बैठ रहा हूँ,
हाँ, हाँ.
मैं क्या चीज़ हासिल करना चाहता था? जब भी आप स्पेन में जाएंगे, आपका साथ भी कुछ लेने जाए ना. सो अब क्या
मेन मकसद तो उस दिन की तैयारी है, यानी उस दिन की तैयारी है जो है ना, वो प्रिपरेशन है, ताकि उस दिन के बाद मालूमात होंगी तो फिर ही तैयारी हो सकेगी. और यकीनन इसमें जो है वो खलबत में मालूमात भी हैं और उसकी तैयारी का ही बताया जाएगा, तो वही चीज़ सीखने के लिए जब हम हाज़िर हुए.
माशाल्लाह. There are some, anybody else would like to mention what they like to achieve in this retreat? Okay. Okay. Brother, are you sitting in the retreat? Okay. Yes, yeah. Okay, then that's fine. We'll just specifically on the people. We've got two from in the chat function. One sister is saying that they want to refresh their purification course and gain more knowledge about the Day of Judgment and what is beyond the imagination. Another sister mentioned, I wish to increase my knowledge on the Day of Judgment through our blessed teacher and knowledgeable ustaz so that I can try to better myself, prepare myself like the brother was saying, mashallah, here. Another sister saying that she would like to reconnect with the tenets of faith, articles of faith, Day of Judgment, so that the awareness of it informs the daily practical life of Islam. These are all, mashallah. I just hope that you keep this in mind fresh at the top of your head so that after the 3 days, see if वो जो मकसद के लिए आप इधर बैठ रहे वो हासिल कर दिया इस 3 दिन में और नहीं, वो ख्याल रखें. So इसलिए मैं कह रहा पहले पूछ रहा हूँ that आपका मकसद क्या है इधर बैठ रहे, क्यों, वजह क्या है, so that then you have an aim of target है ना, am I going to achieve this target or not? So we're going to see, inshallah, after 3 days we're going to achieve that or not. So mashallah, that is what you are hoping to achieve. A lot of the brothers and sisters are saying that they want to gain more knowledge and start preparing for that day. So one of the objectives, inshallah, is what we'll be doing in these 3 days and 3 nights, hopefully, is that to cultivate a state and feeling that Day of Judgment is near. How we will do this is through the ma'mulat and the information that you'll be given. The information, hopefully, with the asatizas will give. Hopefully, the knowledge that they'll actually dispense upon you and give towards you, is that will help you to start cultivating a mindset. Coupled with that, inshallah aziz, what we will be doing is that the muraqabat that we will be doing, the different practical exercise that we'll do in the majlises, will help to aid, create the awareness and the presence and the belief, and help you to the thing that you actually talked about, help you to actually vividly see those things of Day of Judgment, what will be happening, connecting with the spiritual world or that world, and travel in time if need be towards those realms and those places to see for your own eyes. Like Brother Ibrahim is saying, is that so that our yaqeen increases, our iman increases upon the akhirah, upon the Day of Judgment, upon the last day, and so that our reliance upon this dunya reduces. Our engrossment of this dunya reduces, the effect of this dunya reduces. How will this reduce? Is when the effect of akhirah becomes more prominent. And that is a telltale sign as to why we are in this state. At the beginning I mentioned why we don't try to remember, is because it's not the fact that the one thing that you'll hear, like what did our blessed teachers mention before, is that everybody is always taking time off for the birthday, they can take a time off, a day off. What about taking a time off for your death day? I.e., people hear about this topic, look at the numbers here, look at the numbers online, is that you've been presented a situation, scenario in which Rasulullah in every single action, in every single deed, the forefront of their mind was always Akhirah, Day of Judgment. Every single prophet, every single messenger, every single Rasul, every single one of them unanimously, and every single one of them universally taught these very universal teachings. One is to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to believe upon them, the Prophet of the time, the Messenger of the time. And secondly, what they also said was that to believe on the last day. Why? It's part of the integral part of faith. Why this is important? They also answered this. Shaykh Ahmad Dabbagh, they mentioned that the reason in the Jummah khutbah, if you want to listen. Integral part as to why belief of the Day of Judgment is important. Why every single prophet and messenger had to mention about Day of Judgment, because without it, your life in this world is null and void, because it's pointless. It's pointless. If you do not have, if you take that belief out, if you take the element of belief, and if you take it out, then life on this earth is pointless. Because why? All those atrocities, all those innocence, all those zulm that is happening on the face of the earth, from individual level to social level, international level, who is going to do justice to that? From the animal kingdom to the plant kingdom, who is going to do justice to them? Who is going to give that justice? Just because we are able and strong and there is an ant which is weak, yes, we are strong, it is weak, but it has a right. It is a creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are also the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The plants, the animals, the birds, the moon, the stars, the heaven, the angels, everything are all creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is why fundamentally the integral part of faith is the day judgment is needed, because that is the day in which justice will be served. Justice will be served. You've seen, like you heard earlier on, our blessed teacher saying is that even in this world, the courts will also carry out misjustice, give wrong rulings. You suffered. You're innocent, but they imprisoned you for 25 years. Who's going to serve the justice? They can't bring the time back. They can't bring your youth back. They can't bring your wealth back. So real justice will happen on that day, and also fundamentally why day judgment is important is showing you this world is nothing but a trial, a land in which we are being tried by. Don't get deluded by the illusion of this world. So here, to cultivate this mindset, to cultivate the feeling that day judgment is near, that is one aspect. Number two, to create the impetus to actually what? Either to adopt the injunctions of Sharia, that the positive injunctions of Sharia, or to refrain from the negative injunctions, prohibitions which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders to do, so that we may either achieve the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or refrain from the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We will be hearing, inshallah Aziz, that should inside you after these 3 days, hopefully we are hoping in this retreat that you will be inclined towards doing the good and declined towards doing evil. And to show that you hear now, all you're hearing many times, we will mention this before, is that to show you that you can also be one of those people of peace and bliss and honor. Because everybody has a mindset that we're all going to suffer. And what we want you to actually shift you towards this mindset, instead of always thinking about punishment and saza and dishonor, we want to actually cultivate in you that also look at the other side as well. You have to have this balance of hope and fear. Having that balanced point of view. So that is what we hope, in inshallah Aziz, we achieve in these days. So quickly, just so that also Zoom be ready as well, is that when I mention to you day judgment, what is the first thing that comes to your head? What comes to your head? Just everybody, just you can either shout out or you can just tell me what comes to your head, brother. Punishment. We've got punishment. Okay. Brother Kashi, what comes to your head?
The book of deeds.
The book of deeds. Okay. Hussein, what comes to your head?
Scales.
Scales. Okay. Abdul Rahman, what comes to your head? Sins. Harun, what comes to your head? Accountability. Hamza, what comes to your head? Sorry. Never-ending day. Brother, what comes to your head? Sins. Sisters, are you? I think the sisters are asleep today. Sisters, we've got sins, hellfire. Brother, what comes to your head? Bij Sirat. Brother Tosi, what comes to your head?
End of this world.
End of this world. What comes to your head?
For some, further enlightening, and for the good ones, also kind of in sort of the same circle, but like they're not really like more affected on it.
Okay, Masha, the sister is awakened now. Finally meet the fear, chaos, heat, sirat, questioning. Okay. Are you seeing something, a correlation here? What we're seeing, what we're hearing, most of us are saying. Brother Masha, Daniel is here. Daniel, you see, hot off the press. Come on. What comes to your head when I mention day judgment to you? What comes to your head?
The long journey.
Long journey. Brother, what comes to your head?
Counting of deeds and sins.
Counting of deeds and sins. Majid, come on, you're going to have to tell me. What comes to your head? If you're thinking, you're trying to think for the right answer. What comes to your head when I mention judgment? Punishment. The reality is that look how many people are saying punishment, sins, pain, chaos. It's like this. Fear is, we are in trepidation of day judgment. Why? Because fear of punishment, of the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of what? Of facing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is huge, it is definitely correct. Because that day Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will undoubtedly be angry. That is the day in which every single prophets and messengers, every single malaika, companion people, everybody barring one will be saying, Nafsi, Nafsi, Nafsi. Apart from one. Every single prophet and messenger will be saying, Nafsi, Nafsi, Nafsi. Even Jibreel Islam will be saying, Nafsi, Nafsi, Nafsi. We will get to the detail of this, apart from one. One being, one personality, one beloved, the Habib, the most beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will be only saying, Ummati, Ummati, Ummati. How is it? Look at the love that the Rasulullah has for his ummah. But that is not what we're going to. So look, everybody is going towards fear, and the hope is like non-existent. And what we want you to see, hopefully in this retreat, Ustaz Harun will do hopefully as well, is show you one of the elements of this is that to show you, listen, fear, it should be there. But also, don't forget, this is also like one of the sisters mentioned, this is also a time, an avenue, a door to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's also a day of honor. It's also a day in which you'll be rewarded. It's a day in which you'll be in bliss. It's a day of peace. It's a day of satisfaction. A day of reward for how you tarried on the face of the earth. So for a believer, for a righteous person, the prophets and messengers, yes, initially they'll be like this, but really there'll be no fear upon them, no grief or no fear. La khawfun alayhim wa la yahzunun. Why? Because they are the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How can we also be that? So we're trying to now, many times whenever you hear their judgment, boom, they give you the thunder striking, that's it. Fear brother, fear sister. Yes, it's true. Because some of the scenes that we describe is horrific. There's nothing you can even imagine. The verses in which our beloved teacher recited is zilzalaha. We can't even imagine how it will be like. It is fearful. But also there's another element as well, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who through His mercy will shower His mercy upon His servants as well. Now here is just so that you all understand this journey, because we haven't got much time now. Here, this is just so that you all are aware of which part and which element the Asatizas will be talking about, and then how it all relates. This is the journey which we'll be taking, inshallah, hopefully through these 3 days as well. Is that obviously we're here in this dunya, life has started from the Al-Marwa, we've been sent to the face of the earth with our freedom of will. We will then go to the grave, after which Hazrat Israfil Islam will blow the horn, and then what will happen is that all the universe and everything, everybody who's living will all die. He'll blow the horn the second time, the resurrection will happen, and then the whole proceedings will start. The judgment, the intercession, the judgment, the scales, the books, the Kawthar. People will then have to go to the Sirat. Then we will have to have another bridge or Kantara, and then we will people who believers who are righteous and who have Iman, and the good deeds outweigh the bad, they'll enter paradise. Otherwise, people will enter hellfire. Okay, this is the journey which I want you to actually just bear this in mind, just have this back of the mind, because when you come to the muraqabah, it'll be useful as well. Is that when you come to the muraqabah, it'll help you to actually visualize this in your journey. Now here, what is day judgment? What is actually day judgment? From conception, from beginning, the prophets and messengers have taught us that our human form life did not actually start here. We all were created in the world of spirits. That is where we first started, our life started from. From the world of spirit, that is where our journey began. It didn't begin here. Remember this, it didn't begin here. And just like in this earthly life, worldly life, our journey comes to an end. From the point of view of this world, for us, as soon as we go to the grave, in reality, our judgment day starts. Reality is why? Because you will not be able to do any good or bad. Your book of deeds will be closed and that's it. So effectively, many people say, brother, when is the sign? What are the signs? The major signs, the minor signs. Like for example, whenever an earthquake happens, whenever a tsunami happens, whenever a war starts, that's it. Everybody starts saying, no, these are the signs. Yes, Rasulullah mentioned the minor signs, and nearly all the minor signs have actually come now. Now it's just a matter of waiting for the major signs to come. This is not an aqidah lesson. I'm not here to actually go into that. We're just saying is that everybody is thinking about the signs, about the signs. What are the signs? What are the signs? The greatest sign that me and you need to be worried about is our death. When is Imam Mahdi going to come? When is Imam Mahdi going to come? Is that you may not be alive for Imam Mahdi, but as soon as you die, that is when your accountability starts. For me and you, forget that. Worry about death. Worry about when you go in the qabr, how will you face Munkar and Nakir? How will you face these angels at the qabr? If you're successful then it makes it easier eventually in the day of judgment on the Yawm al-Hashr. If you're unsuccessful, like Hazrat Uthman radiallahu anhu, he used to weep and cry at the qabr and beside the grave. Because he radiallahu anhu said is that the reason why he used to weep and cry, said Uthman radiallahu anhu, imagine such a beautiful sahabi, such a nurmi heart, such a gentle soul. He's weeping and crying. Why? He's saying is that if the ummati, if the servant actually passes this phase, it makes his reckoning easier in the day of judgment. Otherwise, if he doesn't even pass here, it makes it very difficult, very hard on the day of judgment. So reality, Yawm al-Qiyamah that you hear, Yawm al-Qiyamah, the different names, Yawm al-Akhir, Yawm al-Qiyamah, all the different names that we have, in the day of judgment, there's a doomsday for our body when we'll die, that's our doomsday. But when Hazrat Israfil Islam will blow that horn, it's actually the end, the destruction, the end point, the death of what? The whole of this universe that you're seeing and hear about. Every single thing will perish away. So much so that our beloved teacher, they once informed us, is that when Islam will blow the horn, one by one, Sayyidina Israel Islam will take, imagine now, this is now, come and try to follow me on this journey, is that we're talking about this phase here now. Look, here blowing the trumpet, is that Hazrat Islam has blown the horn. Now what's happening is that one by one now, all the suns and stars and the light of the sun is now fading, eating away, and now everything's now going to be shattered into pieces. Everything's destroying slowly, so they're all tumbling down and crushing down. As you can see, this planet is being destroyed. What will happen is that Hazrat Israel Islam, what he'll do is that he'll take all the spirits who are still alive, human beings who are still alive in Jannat, he'll take all of the souls, go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, who else is still living? O Israel Islam, who is still living? Sayyidina Israel Islam will say, Ya Rabbil Alameen, yourself, all the angels are still living. He said, no, everything must perish. Everything must perish now. This is the death of the universe, death of everything, barring Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is Al-Hayy, La Yamut. So what will happen? He then will order Israel Islam to take the spirit of all the general angels. So all the angels in first heaven, second heaven, he'll slowly extract their spirit one by one, till it comes back to Allah subhanahu Ya Rabbal Alameen. I have taken all the spirits of human beings, jinnats, and all the creation. I've taken the spirit of all the general angels now. Who is still remaining? Allah subhanahu says, Ya Rabbal Alameen, myself, yourself, Sayyidina Jibreel Islam, Hazrat Mikael Islam, Hazrat Israfil Islam, and the Hamalin and Arsh, the bearers of the throne. No, everybody must die. Everybody must perish. So Allah SWT then orders, imagine the great Hamalin and Arsh, the Malaika, with such size and figures that we can't even imagine. They will be, Hazrat Israel Islam will take the spirit of those angels. As soon as they take that, he'll go back and inform Allah SWT will ask who is still left. He says, myself, Ya Rabbi, yourself, and Jibreel Islam, Israfil Islam, Mikael Islam. No, they all must die. Then he takes the spirit of every single one of the other angels, one by one. So much so, Jibreel Islam, they say in the Kitab, it mentions that his wing will spread with the glorification of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and when his spirit is taken, it will go face down the floor. Such a mighty angel. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, imagine now who is just there? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Hazrat Israel Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will then ask again, O Israel, who is still existing? Sayyidina Israel said, Ya Rabbal Alameen, myself and just you, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, everybody must perish. Everybody must die. Everybody must perish. Only the countenance and the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will exist. He can only exist. Nothing else can remain. So what happens? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will inspire words to Israel Islam. He will then slowly feel the effect of his spirit leaving his body. It is said in the Kitabs that they mention is that Sayyidina Israel Islam will say that had I known how painful it is when I extract the soul of someone, especially the believers of the believers, he's saying especially the believers, if I'd known how painful, I would have gone easy upon them. Imagine Hazrat Israel Islam is saying this. He will make such a noise when the spirit will be taken, such a noise that if there were people who were existing then, any creation that was existing then, they would die by hearing that noise. Forget about azab of Jahannam and azab of other things. Just by hearing the scream of Hazrat Israel Islam when his soul is extracted, slowly is extracted, and the scream that he'll make, it will be sufficient. It is said in the books, it is sufficient that whoever will be alive, they'll die by hearing the scream. Some of the punishment Sayyidina Ibrahim someone mentioned is that other prophets have mentioned that is that it's sufficient as a punishment. Forget about hellfire. The way in which the shakl in which Hazrat Israel will come to a person if he's sinful and if he's actually a person who is destined for hell, when the form that he comes, just seeing that form of Hazrat Israel Islam is sufficient as a punishment. You don't need anything else. Me and you cannot even imagine. Our mind cannot even picture how horrific that can be. That such a scream, such a form is sufficient as a punishment. Imagine just looking at that is sufficient. And that is what will happen in Surah Sajda. What he's saying, وَلَوْ تَرَيْجِ الْمُجْرِمُونَ نَاكِسُ رُؤُوسِهِمْ رَبِّنَا أَبْصَرْنَا وَسَمِعْنَا فَارْجِنَا نَعْمَلْ صَالِحًا. Is that when the mujrimun, they'll see the hellfire. They'll see the hellfire. And they say, Ya Rabbal Alameen, we have seen now, we believe now, Ya Rabbal Alameen, return us back. We will definitely do righteous deeds. It's too late now. It's too late. So here, like everybody is saying, we want to prepare. You want to prepare now. Really, as soon as we came to the face of the earth, our preparation already started. Whether we're ready or not, because like Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbagh, rahimullah, what he said, alayhi rahmah, what he said is that every single one of us has a place in hellfire, and every single one of us has a place in heaven, in Jannah. It's up to us now to decide where we want to go. Which place are you going to say, nope, I don't want to go there, I want to go here. It's up to me and you. But there's a place created for me and you in hell, and a place created for me and you in paradise. It's up to me and you now to wake up and strive for that place. Day of Judgment, what is? So this is day of accountability, like a lot of you are saying. I have to quickly finish it off now. It's a day of accountability, a day of justice. Like I mentioned before, accountability. Imagine, I don't know if I can get to the better. Imagine your book of deeds. What are the book of deeds that we're writing? The book of deeds. Kiraman Katim write a book of deeds. Our beloved teacher Shahmad Dabbagh, they said, it's like, imagine, like brother is from Spain. let's now need to go back to the olden days. Let's go to 1980s now. Some of you were even born, but Uncle Iqbal will definitely do not remember. He's still too young yet. So Brother Kash will remember that time, and Brother Amr remember. Back in those days, what happened, what we used to write, when we came from Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, Assalamu alaikum, we used to write letters. We used to write, and nowadays we just send any messages, but you youngsters don't appreciate the value of letters, honestly. We used to write letters, Assalamu alaikum, Amijan, Assalamu alaikum, Abijan, I am good, I am well, or our family, our relatives, our wives and our children. When you will be writing a letter, you will have to put some thought, isn't it, what you're going to write. Or are you just going to write, like for example, no. Even if you're going to send a message to someone, you will have to think, what am I going to say? Especially, for example, let me just tell you, I'm not saying you do this, but let's say, for example, you're going to write a message to Hazrat Sahib now. Now imagine, you're all, I can see the trepidation in everybody's face, yes. People can't even write, Assalamu alaikum. Imagine you're going to write a message to Hazrat Sahib. What will you do? You will be thinking not once, not twice, not 3, 4 times, 5 times, maybe 100 times. You'll be saying, have I said this right? Let me just check, have I read this right? What you'll then also do, brother, can you just check for me if I've written this? Is there a spelling a mistake? Have I worded it right? Is this the right decorum? Is this the right way in which I've written? You'll be analyzing that letter, scrutinizing, have I written it right? And then eventually, maybe it was supposed to be a 2-minute message, a two-line message. It ended up being taking you, instead of a few minutes, it's taking you hours and days just to send that message because you're so petrified. Then you said, Bismillah, send. And relief, I've sent it. Then you worried, oh no, have I sent it right? Did I spell it right? Have I said it right? Have I not said it right? You're worried, aren't you? Trepidation. In those days when you used to write to relatives, you used to think. You think deeply, am I writing correctly? What am I thinking? So imagine that trepidation. Now, let me say to you is that, imagine you're writing to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Again, what would you do? Like our honorable brothers brothers and sisters who've been to Umrah, the etiquette, the decorum that you went and giving salam and how you're behaving. Imagine you're writing to the Prophet, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and so on and so on. You're writing all of these things. What would you think? How? You're not going to just write verse and say, no, you think deeply, ponder deeply. Do maybe 2 rak'at hajat. Inspiring you with words in which Allah can put in that letter, isn't it? My dear brothers and elders, Abu Levitated Shaykh Ahmad Dawah, they said, what did they say? Is that these book of deeds are letters to which you're writing towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the face of the earth. Every single deed that we're doing now, Kiram and Katibin, they're writing a letter. So if you are writing a letter to Hazrat Sahib or to Rasulullah and you're so scared, what are you going to? Me and you are showing no fear whatsoever in what we're writing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have no sense of fear. We have no thought and no awareness. We're just writing anything. So our beloved teacher, they mentioned is that imagine, Kiram and Katib, whatever action you're doing, now this is again the awareness and mindset, whatever action you are doing, think, ponder, and think, this action that I'm doing now, Kiram and Katib writing this letter, they're going to write and record it and give it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is this action that I'm doing going to be good for me? Will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala become pleased with me? Or is He going to be displeased with me? And if you think that it's going to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala happy, carry it out. If you think that it's going to be, if you know that it's going to displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do not do it. Prophetic mindset. Bringing the thought of akhirah in front of you, the thought of the presence and awareness of Allah in front of you before you're carrying any deed out. It's a day of accountability, because either hasib qabla to hasib, get your book of deeds accounted for before you're accounted for on akhirah. Do it now. Don't wait tomorrow. Somebody's giving you this tongue that you wait till tomorrow. No, don't wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow may never come for me and you. We don't know. Day of separation is also a day of honor. You see, these are the names. It's a day of honor. Those of you, those brothers, the prophets and messengers, the awliya and salihin, it's a day of honor for them. They'll be rejoicing in the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, dash of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They'll be in the kursis, they'll be in the thrones, and they'll be in the arch, and they'll be smiling and rejoicing. Day of union with who? With Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the prophets and messengers. We have not met them physically. Now is the time we can meet and be with them. It's a day of joy and happiness, because why? That is the day as soon as a person went to Jannah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I am pleased with you, that is it. There's no, what a sign of success is that after which there is no failure. That is the true meaning of success. True meaning of success is what? After which there is no failure. That is the Islamic point of view. That is Islamic mindset of what true meaning of success is. Falah. A day of meeting. Day of meeting with the pious, with the prophets and messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the day of reward for what we've done on the face of the earth. Scales. Book of deeds. It's always going up and down. Have we done enough? You need to now ponder, if like our beloved teacher was mentioning earlier before, if the day of judgment was present now, if they were, Allah was taking into accountability of my book of deeds now, which way will the scales go? Am I a person who will be entering paradise, or am I a person who will be entering hellfire? For the prophets and messengers, this is a day of honor, a day of peace and blessing and bliss. How can we attain this? This is where Ustaz Jabir and Ustaz Siraj Munir, they'll actually talk about how you can make the action of this world, the deeds of this world, after hearing about the judgment, how you can commence, after hearing, how can I really prepare myself so that I am becoming of those people who be in bliss, who be in peace, who be in serenity in my qabr as well as in the akhirah. How can I do this? That is what Ustaz Jabir and also Ustaz Munir will be going through. You have to now decide. My dear brother, you have to, like just now, time is up. One day our time is going to be up. When that will be, Allah knows best. You have to decide, what? Do I want to enter the kingdom of heaven, which is the eternal bliss and the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or do I want to enter hellfire? You decide. So I have not unfortunately been able to go through any details or such. I hope I've given you a brief outline of what to expect. Is that hopefully the Asatizah, you should participate in every single one of the sessions, but important the Muraqabah, because the theory, which is when you go through the theory, the practical will help and aid in making you understand the theory that was just been mentioned. And which will help you to bring and cultivate that awareness and make you really start living as though day judgment is near. جزاك الله سجدا سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
Jazakallah khair to Imam Qais for what was a lively introductory session. We'll now break for Isha Salah, and Isha Jamaat will be at 7:45, and for the online participant we'll have our normal Friday evening majlis, which should start around 8:15 PM inshallah. So we shall see you then. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.